Charles Haley. You're listening to Nothing But Niners.
This is Kyle Juszczyk, and you're listening to Nothing But Niners.
So now they've got to start from deep in their end of the field, and Garrison Hurst takes advantage of it. He takes the handoff, kicks to his right, gets to the 20. He's in the 30, needs to cut in. He comes back up the right sideline, breaks a third tackle, comes down to the 30. He's down to the 20. He's down to the 10. He's down to the 5. He's into the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown! 49ers! 96-yard run from scrimmage. Garrison Hurst breaking tackle after tackle, sweeps down the sideline, throws off bodies like clothes after a marathon.
Young, back to throw. In trouble, he's going to be sacked. No, gets away. He runs, gets away again, goes to the 40, gets away again, to the 35, cuts back at the 30, to the 20, the 50, the 10. He died. Touchdown, 49ers.
Third down, Alex takes the snap. Alex looking down in post, and it's good. Touchdown! Touchdown, 49ers!
But it's second down. Ryan takes the snap, throws the slant to the left side. It's Russell intercepted. The 49ers pick it, and Navarro Bowman is redemption. Navarro Bowman running it all the way for the touchdown. No greater redemption.
San Francisco 49ers. We can do whatever we want.
Click, click, boom. What's going on, faithfuls? It's your boys, Mike and Tony, and we are here to bring you guys a midday show here on this beautiful Saturday, man. I hope everybody out there is doing well. Tony, how you feeling, man? Oh, he's taking a sip of his dirty water.
No, it's coffee. This is coffee.
Oh, okay.
No dirty water. If that's dirty water, I got a problem. But I'm good. Just hanging out, day, whatever, in recovery, and that's it, man. Just listening to podcasts, watching stuff on the computer, the TV, and just going over stuff that they did in free agency and all the stuff that I've been reading, and here to talk about it today.
Yeah, man. So we're going to have a lot of fun on today's episode. I have personally not been listening to podcasts, mainly because I don't want people to influence my decision, right? People talking about all these different prospects and all these different people that the Niners could get, should get, and all. And I'm like, man, I want to form my own opinion. So I try to stay away from it. And every time I listen to you guys, I talk to you, I talk to Wayne, I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe that guy would be a good idea. I hated Debo, and somebody's talking to me, and I'm like, you know what? They're right. Debo could come back and have a pretty good role here, right? So I'm like, man, I don't want to be that easily influenced, but the truth is the truth. If you can get good facts, if you get good information behind what you're talking about, I mean, there's no reason to be so close-minded. So that is another reason why I'm enjoying doing these shows now. It's just so that I can change some of my views or my opinions. So we're going to jump into this thing. We're going to go through the formalities, and then we're going to have a lot of fun, all right? For everybody out there watching right now, if this is your first time on the YouTube, we hope you guys enjoy the show. Hit the like button on this episode, please. That'll do us a good thing. And then follow us, and then subscribe to the channel, and then turn on your notifications so you know exactly when we're going live. Give us a follow on some of our social media platforms. Let's start with Patreon, man. Bonus content is up over there, man. I'm waiting on the people to vote. I posted a couple of videos. We got to watch some film on somebody, and they got to tell me what game they want us to pick. But head on over to patreon.com/NB9ERS or become a member of the channel. That video is also available to the members of the Nothing But Niners community as far as the channel members, all right? So make sure you guys check that out. Give us a follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. Those handles, and TikTok. Those handles are Nothing But Niners. It's spelled all the way out. There might be some underscores in there somewhere, but make sure you guys go over there and check them out. And last but certainly not least, we have Snapchat and X, and those handles are Nothing But 9ERS. That is the number 9, Nothing But 9ERS. All right. This episode is brought to you by Mike and Tony. No sponsors, huh? That's it. We hope you guys are ready to have some fun because I am. So, Tony, man, we got to go ahead and get into it. This has been a hell of an offseason. This free agency period has been pretty good for the 49ers, I think. Or maybe it hasn't been. Maybe we can give it a grade at the end of this thing. But I think the 49ers are cooking, right? I think that they've gone into this offseason a little bit more aggressive than what I expected them to be. At times I felt like they were desperate. Then I was like, oh, maybe I can see a plan coming together. And so we're going to see, we're going to try to talk through this thing here. They've signed multiple players, obviously. They've made at least one significant trade so far this offseason. They've extended some key players heading into the offseason. They've restructured some contracts to free up some cap space. And I guess the question for today's episode is going to be why, right? Like, what's the urgency? Why are they doing all of the restructuring and things of that nature? The trades, they are making significant moves. And so what we're going to try to answer during this episode is, are the Niners all in for the Super Bowl? Is it that kind of push? Or are they just trying to keep their Super Bowl window and playoff hopes alive? Do they just want to be competitive? All right. So they started off the season with, what is it, $301 million in cap space, right, Tony? That's how they start off the season.
Not that much in cap space.
Yeah, it was not cap space. I'm sorry, that was the salary cap. The salary cap for
2026
got bumped up to $301 million. Sorry, my apologies. And they entered it with roughly 38 to 40 million. Like, if it depends on what you're looking at, right? So let's start from there. Let's start with the biggest move in the free agent signings. All right, new faces to the Bay. We're going to start with Mike Evans, man. Now, we've touched on it. We don't have to drag this thing out here. But what does Mike Evans bring to the table, and have they made any corresponding moves, or have they set themselves up for corresponding moves after the signing of Mike Evans?
It brought a true bona fide X and number one receiver that this team has never had since Kyle's been here. So with that being said, they announced the contract. I think it was 3 years, $60-something million. I think, I don't remember off the top of my head. So I was kind of like, all right, listen, that whole notion of getting younger, cheaper, faster, like, what are we doing here? I'm like, we spoke about this before, so I'll just be brief about it. But then you look at it and you're like, all right, well, it's the 1 year, $16 million, and that's all that's guaranteed. So it's pretty much bang. That's it. You know what you got. But a positive is, by him being on the field for the 49ers, it's not like he's got to be force-fed. He's going to open up so much for others. He's going to get open looks because of others. And, they're young behind him, right? Watkins, Cowan, Pearsall. Now you've got that senior vet with a ton of experience. I think we could both agree he's a Hall of Fame wide receiver.
Absolutely.
Eventually, when his time comes, first ballot probably. And I think that is what is lacking in that room. And not only the production, but like the leadership. And I think it's going to help this team in a big way, especially if they add another young wide receiver to the puzzle in the draft. So I think it's a positive. At first I saw the contract, I was kind of like, eh. But looking at it, I'm good with it. Like, I'm glad they made the move. And like I said, he is a true X. And we're going to see what this offense is going to look like now with Kyle, with a true X. Now, we saw what it looked like with a true X in Atlanta. We saw what it looked like with a true X in Houston. The offense clicks when he has a true X. Granted, he's 33, but the threat of his talent and skill set, he's immediately going to open up the red zone and have a mass rewards on the red zone.
I got an interesting question for you. X, Y, flanker, Z, whatever, right? All these different. What role did Emmanuel Sanders have when he came here?
I think he was the X.
He was also an X because
he was the X. He came in
big time.
I mean, by the end of the season, he was the X. He had to get adapted and stuff like that, and caught up. But by I'd say like week 3, because his first game was versus Carolina, and he exploded, right?
Yeah, that was versus Carolina. Yeah.
Yeah. So, they're vets, man. They're vets. They know the terminology. They know the concepts. They know what to look for in defenses. It's interesting. I'm excited. I'm excited to see this offense take that next step. It's right. Him and Purdy got to work. They got to get on timing and a rhythm. And if you look at the people that he's replacing, in my opinion, I mean, I love Juwan Jennings. Don't get me wrong. He made a lot of massive plays, and he's part of the reason why they've had success over the last 2 years. And even in that Super Bowl, where if they won, he probably would have been the MVP if I had to put money on it. But like Juwan Jennings, Mike Evans. Mike Evans is it. Juwan Jennings is limited with his being more of a slot receiver and using his size, strength, and mentality to win than his athletic ability. And as far as Brandon Aiyuk, I think they're getting a better wide receiver for a quarter of the price. And you don't know what Aiyuk's going to come back with as far as his knee, where his knee is going to be. But
He's
It's an
still on the
upgrade
roster,
against
right?
the
They haven't officially released him yet, right?
No, and you know what, Mike? I got to be honest with you. I wouldn't release him right now because I mean, if they can't move him by draft time, then I would release him
Right.
for that second wave of free agency. But if there's a team like they feel they're really like hurting and they don't want to draft a wide receiver, maybe someone calls the Niners and just offers them a pick. I'm not saying
Right.
a second,
Yeah.
third. If you could pick up a fifth, a sixth, you take it because we don't have those picks.
Yeah, exactly.
So why give them away for nothing when you could just pick a pickup? I mean,
That's what I've been saying. Thank you. Yes, it's just like, guys, like we own the rights. There's no rush to get rid of them. The money's accounted for already. The guarantees are gone. Why rush to get rid of them? But I don't want to turn this into the Brandon Aiyuk thing. I wanted to ask you something. You mentioned getting some younger talent, and you went right to the draft. Is there a possibility, or is there someone that you think they could target before the draft in free agency? Is there anyone that you think stands out to you that you think, like you said, you got Evans, you got Pearsall, and that's kind of where it stops. Everybody else behind them is a bunch of question marks, right? You do have some youth in Watkins and Cowling, and you want to see those guys come along. If I'm not mistaken, Robinson is still under contract as well, but he's one of the older. He's an older veteran. You talked about getting younger in the draft. Is there anybody in free agency that you might maybe want the Niners to kick the tires on?
Free agency. Give me 1 second. Let me pull up my list.
I should have had it up for you. I apologize.
No, you're good. But I mean, listen, like we spoke about in the text, Moody, right? Mooney, I think his name is
Darnell Mooney. Yeah,
that's someone we could look at. I mean, he's going to add the speed element to this offense. We do have speed, but the injuries concerning with our two players with the speed. You can look at a Mooney, and it seems like all my wide receivers I had interest in were all signed. Okay, this is useless.
I love when that happens.
So, they could snoop around, but I think this team is pretty much done with free agency right now. I think the focus has become on Trent Williams and trying to get that situated and a decision made on what route they're going to go. It kind of seems with the decision of Mike Evans and a couple other things that they decided to go in free agency that this could be a year where they're pushing all their chips in again. This team made it to the NFC divisional round with a decimated roster on both sides of the ball. And with the pieces that they're adding to it, and then not including with the draft, I could see them bouncing right back. But as far as your question, as far as the free agency side, I don't know off the top of my head who's available because I don't have my list is everyone's pretty much gone. The last guy I had on there was adding like a speed element with Tutu Atwell, but he was just picked up, I think, by the Dolphins. I think
he went to Miami.
But as far as the draft, I mean, you got to look at two guys, and watching the championship game again last night while I was sitting up at 3:30 in the morning because I can't sleep. Those two Indiana wide receivers are built for the 49er offense, in my opinion. Not only with route designs and concepts, but both of those guys are absolutely willing blockers. And Surratt, I think, is a pretty damn good blocker. But Cooper is the one guy I would really say could be that next element to this offense. Fast, 6 foot, 205, decent arms, tested well at the combine. I'm pretty sure. I don't have that number in front of me. But those are two guys I would really put the focal point on. If Cooper's there at 27, it's going to be a tough decision. It's going to be a tough conversation not to take him.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna. I was gonna do the super chats in between segments, but I will get to this one because it pertains to wide receivers specifically in the draft. And this is from Nick O'Donnell. He says here, so Mike kind of shit on my question on Zachariah Branch. LOL. I didn't. I looked him up and I said, oh, his numbers are a little more impressive, but I didn't like the size. He's a 5'9", 5'10" guy, but he ran like a 4.38 or something like that, so he's got some speed. But he didn't even specify at number 27. He was just asking in general, though. But he's saying, I think he thinks that he could be great guy in the slot or a return guy for the Niners. What are your thoughts on him, Tony?
I think he could be too, but not at 27. I see him as like more of like, again, this is very early. I did not start my draft stuff, but definitely late day 2, early day 3 guy. I don't see him going unless there's a big run on wide receivers. He can go upwards towards the top of the 3rd round, but I think he's pretty much a solid day 3, round 3, high round 4 wide receiver. He's fast as shit, Mike. I'm not gonna lie. The guy.
No, I know. I didn't know anything about him. I hadn't started my research, and I started looking him up like while I was doing the Q&A last night or the night before. I don't remember what night it was. But anyways, I was like, oh wow, like he's actually very impressive. His RAS score was impressive, and considering how small he is, he didn't get the boost from the size. It's all athleticism. His athletic testing is phenomenal. 38-inch vertical, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have it pulled up in front of me anymore, but I'm pretty sure it was a 38-inch vertical. Like this kid's good, man.
And he's like a dude that could come in and replace Sky Moore as a special teamer.
There you go.
He's like that type of player, but again, limited on picks. We got to see where we're going, and I'll tell you straight up, and I'll say it again, at 27, if Cooper's there, man, that's tough to walk away from. I'm sorry.
All right, so thank you for that. Oh, I forgot to play the little ching ching. I got it. There you go. Thanks for that one, Nick. I do appreciate it. All right, and I'll get to the other one after. Let's keep going with these free agents so far.
Yeah, go.
Vidarian Lowe, the swing tackle, offensive line depth is how I view him. There were some people that were thinking, is this insurance for Trent Williams? I know that we don't want to think that way. Brian Baldinger is doing videos like trying to gas him up, and he did the same thing with what was the other guy that we signed from the Patriots? I cannot think of his name, Tony. It was like 2 years ago. We got him, and Brian Baldinger posted like video of him. I think it was the Patriots. He's like, "Oh, this guy's good. And this guy was trash. It was a tackle."
I don't remember.
Oh, I'm gonna try to find it. But in the meantime, what are your thoughts on Vidarian Lowe, and what do you think he's here for? I look at him as a Sean Coleman type guy, just some depth at the tackle positions. But how do you see him?
Sure. I mean, listen, he was pretty impressive when he filled in for Campbell at a couple starts when Campbell was out. But I mean, listen, like if he's being signed right now, in my opinion, I think he is a upgrade over Pleasance. But obviously, if we're saying he's an upgrade over Pleasance and they move on from Trent, he immediately is penciled in as the left tackle as of now. So he's the next man up. Obviously, they'll try to who? Pryor.
It was Matt Pryor, yeah.
So with that being said, obviously they would address it. And we spoke about like a situation on the phone, not on the air, where if Trent Williams was moved to Kansas City or whatever, whoever's interested in him, like you could go in and grab one of the top 2 tackles on free agents that one of them just signed with the Carolina Panthers on a 1-year deal. A very similar situation I would have said if they did move on from Trent, the guy from Green Bay, I just forgot his name. Whitaker, Little, no. Walker, the guy from Green Bay. And I said to you, I said, Mike, I said, it's a coincidence that the top 2 left tackles are still free agents. Well, not one of them's not no more. So Decker's there as well. If they still move on it, you bring in somebody like Decker, you compete with Lowe. One fun fact about Lowe, very long arms, very, very long arms. And you see in his play how he wins he gets his arm out on the defender before the defender gets his arms on him. And that's key. Like you're blessed with long arms, use your arms and you perform highly at your craft. And that's a factor why, he's got 32-inch arms as a left tackle. That could be a little bit of an issue because the defenders are getting to your body where you don't want them to. So that's a very big plus. His wingspan's through the roof, 80s, I think 80-something, whatever. And another fun fact is Kwesi was the general manager, I believe, when he was drafted with the Minnesota Vikings. And Kwesi is now in the 49ers front office again. So, hey, listen, John, we did the due diligence on this guy, XYZ. We like him. Throw his film on when Will Campbell went out with his injury. He looked well. He dominated. There was no hiccups. There was no lapse in protection on the backside of Drake May. Blah, blah, blah. You bring him on a 2-year deal. And that's it. And you just let him play, let him perform, let him compete. Let him compete, definitely. Because, when you compete, the cream rises to the top. So with that being said, it's a decent move. It's a solid move. But if they do move on from Trent Williams, expect the corresponding move.
All right. Let's keep it moving, man. Another free agent signing. And it was a signing during free agency, which, that's why I have him listed as a free agent signing. It was linebacker Garrett Wallow. He signed to a 1-year deal. Looks like the Niners let him test free agency. And whether it was him, they probably made him an offer, said, look, go out there, see what you can get. If you don't get a deal better than this, we got a 1-year deal for you. Former 5th-round pick, special teams contributor, and depth at the linebacker position. He's got 51 tackles in 44 career games. Do you think this is a special teams move? Do you think this is a depth move? Or do you think it's a little bit of both?
It's a little bit of both. Well, it was a little bit of both, but now there's a new element added to this equation. So it could be a little bit of that on top of competition to secure a spot in this roster for the 2026 season. But listen, played well versus him and Kendricks played lights out versus Philly, and their play on defense is probably what solidified that win versus the Eagles. Those two guys were playing with their hair on fire. Great special teamer. He does give you value as special teamer, but now another linebacker was signed that he's going to be competing with a special teamer as well. So, it's a good piece at the time you brought him back, but they were able to bring back other pieces we'll get into, obviously, and it's going to be competition, and that's what you really want.
Was there another person that we signed in free agency? Am I missing anybody?
Yeah.
Dre Greenlaw, but he's not going to be for special teams.
No, they signed the linebacker back, Luke Gifford.
Oh, that's right, Luke Gifford also. All right, so they signed also Luke Gifford. And again, I think that these were part of the exit conversations, right? Like these guys are going out. Please feel free to test free agency. We appreciate everything that you guys did for us. If you can't find a deal that you want, you're welcome to come back here. So give me your rundown on Luke Gifford and then Dre Greenlaw.
Listen, I really, really like the signing of Gifford. I really do. I think with Gifford, and I'm going to be very clear on this, as a special teams player, I think this special teams took a massive step last year with Gifford a part of the unit. I think their goal is to keep that unit intact, other than Sky Moore, obviously, because he went to Green Bay. But to return a Pro Bowl special teamer, and there's only one person that could get voted to the Pro Bowl out of the whole NFC, and it was him. So that says a lot. He's a damn good special teamer. He's a difference maker. And I honestly think that Brant Hoyer really wanted him back, and he's got him. And I think the special teams will continue to take that step as long as, while I'm on special teams, they retain Pinero, they retain Weeks. Morstead is rumors to come back, but he negotiates his own contract, so he's on way on vacation right now. So I'm sure when he comes back, he'll get signed, and your core mechanical piece and your big players on special teams are all back except for Sky Moore. That's a plus because special teams is very important. It's a third of the game. So
why Morstead? Why are they so stuck on him? Because I don't think he was anything special or fantastic at all. I think he had 2 good punts all season, maybe 3.
When you're like, it's more than just his punts. I'll tell you this, Morstead's a phenomenal holder. If you ever watch Morstead hold, he never botches. He's consistently with his placement, and that's a key with the field goal. And right when you say special teams, your field goals are probably very important because they're giving you points. I understand field position's huge with punts and coverage, but if you're down by 2, and here comes your long snap, here comes your kicking your field goal team with 3 seconds on the clock to win a game, you want that to be as guaranteed as possible, as smooth and as perfect as possible. I understand shit hits the fan at sometimes, but that crucial exchange from snap to hold to kick, it's very important. It's so important. And I guess Hoyer felt comfortable with that, and that's why those guys are coming back.
Yeah, that's a great transition to our next subject here. It's going to be the 49ers resigning their own players. So I'm going to get right back to that. Let me get to this other super chat really quick. This was the first one from Nick. All right, and so I'm going to play the bomb on this one. He says, do you guys think Kyle will ever get back to an O-line like in 2021 where we had Lincoln Tomlinson, Brunskill, Trent Williams, Alex Mack out there? Like, what do you think about that? Because the line is not as good as it was in 2021. I can tell you that right now.
Is this a question on being finesse or more physical?
No, that's a question for Nick. I don't know.
Because
if I look at this line, there's a good bit of physicality on this line. I mean, Trent Williams 4-5 years ago, Alex Mack, he's got the old man strength there. Tomlinson was strong as well. You know,
I'm saying based off of like weight wise, right? If you're talking from a weight aspect where Trent's probably 325, I think Tomlinson paid at like 315, 320. Mack probably played at like 310. Okay, yes, it's more physical, and I would love to see that transition to more heavier and more physical guys who showed at that weight they were still able to get out and lead and cut off the second level. My problem is this, like Jake Brendel, if he's 300 pounds, I'll give you $100. I don't think he's anywhere near 300 pounds. I don't. He gets thrown around way too much. We don't know who the new left guard is going to be. If you want to pencil in the gentleman we signed from Philadelphia, Toth, who has had some experience playing in the league, has some okay looks on film when he spot started due to injuries or whatever. But you want to come in and set a precedence. Like you want to say, okay, this is our guard going forward. That could be another issue that we could be facing in the draft. But obviously, they were more productive then. They didn't get pushed around then. So that makes them more physical then. And the question is, will they get back to that? If it was up to me, the answer is 100% yes. But unfortunately, it's not up to me.
Yeah. You know what those big guys did also? They improved the run game. Not just pass protection. The run game was so much better than also. So,
it's not only that they all had the ability to anchor. Tomlinson anchored. Mack anchored. Brendel can't anchor. He can't.
Right. And I think we had McGlinchey then too, right? So.
Well, McGlinchey, that's a whole different story.
All right, so let's move on to our next subject here. It's going to be re-signing their own players, and you talked about why they may want Morstead not just for field position but the holder. The Niners re-signed Eddie Pinheiro for the special teams. So you think Eddie was like, hey man, maybe we bring Morstead back because I don't second guess him holding. I don't have to hesitate. The ball is in his hands and it's down and it's perfect every single time.
100%.
I mean, this guy missed one field goal, and it was a 60-something yard attempt.
Mike, 100%. 100%. Sometimes the kicker has a lot more say than us as fans know.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. So Pinheiro, he signs a 4-year extension right before free agency happens, stabilizing the kicking game. You get someone that's coming in reliable, high percentage kicker here. And then that's the kind of continuity that we've kind of been lacking at that position, right? I mean, they played some games with Robbie Gould, then they moved on to Jake Moody. I think Moody was the next one after Gould. That was a failed experiment. He's floated around the league since then. And then we had a bunch of guys coming in during Gould's injuries and all that, and then Jake Moody's injuries, and the Niners decided
and even Wisnowski's injuries. They were rotating punters. So your exchange was not exactly perfect.
Right, exactly. So they do all this stuff, and now all of a sudden it's like, boom, let's solidify these things. And you had an interesting tidbit. I didn't know that Morstead was out on vacation, and that's why he's probably not signed with anybody yet. So the continuity, it definitely has a value. And if you add up all the points that Pinheiro had last year, he was the team's leading scorer. So it is definitely important. So that was a phenomenal point by you there. What do you think about this 4-year deal? Is it a real 4-year deal? Because it feels like a 2-year deal to me. But what are your thoughts on it?
It kind of does. It kind of feels like a 2 with an option to make it a 3, but I don't think it's a 4. I think the 4th is just like there to spread out the cost. But I if it's a 2-year deal, fine. If it's a 3-year deal, as long as he's only 30 years old. So as long as he's kicking at a high level, I mean, what? Robbie Gould was 34 when he retired? 35 maybe? 34, I think.
Well, when he was done with us, because I think he played another year after us, didn't he?
No, he was gonna, but he never signed. He retired and coached football.
Oh, okay.
The high school football, high school.
Let me see. I'm pulling it up here really quick just to verify his last team. Robbie Gould's last team. Jesus, look at how long the list of he played for so long from 2005. Come on, move. From 2005 to 22. Yeah. So, yeah, it was 49ers. Okay. Yep. So, I mean, damn, that's a long career. That's a great career in the NFL, man. Shout out to Robbie Gould. All right. Let's keep it moving here. You mentioned Luke Gifford already, and you thought that was a great special team sign. This guy had 20 special teams tackles, Tony.
Yeah.
That's a lot considering that you only get, 6 opportunities in a game or so?
Yeah. And think about it, right? Like, could his production have been better if he wasn't starting in the beginning of the season?
Exactly.
So
right.
now he's back, but his focus is 100% special teams unless there's a drastic injury, which is a common thing. But if there's multiple injuries, because I think there's people ahead of him right now in the depth chart of the linebackers. So, and that's as of right now because there's 8 of them, I think. So, with that being said, I do think the next signing that we're going to talk about in Dre Greenlaw, I think is huge. But
let's go ahead and get to it.
Huge and concerning. The concerning part is the injuries. He hasn't been the same since he tore that Achilles. Let's keep it real. All right. He had quad issues on the same leg that he tore the Achilles. That's kind of saying there's overcompensating or slight favoritism to the Achilles, and it's putting a lot more toll on the quad. I'm not a doctor, but I'm just trying to figure it out myself because I know with my injury, sometimes it hurts. When I try to favor it, I feel like a cramp in my quad or something or my calf. But it's the negative doesn't override the positive in this situation. I think the positive overrides the negative, and that's the emotional leader that he's going to bring back to this defense and this team. More on the defense, but in the team in general, right? Dre Greenlaw is like a spark plug to this defense, to the engine of this defense. And I'll say it, I love Fred Warner, but Fred Warner was not the same linebacker he was since Dre Greenlaw left last year. And it's not play. I'm not saying play. I'm saying that emotion. That emotion was missed by this team. They're getting a dog back. They're going to get a guy, if you're not paying attention, he's going to decleat your ass and have no problem doing it. And he will hit you going out of bounds to get a 15-yard penalty. But you know what that gives? That gives the defense an emotional edge. They start playing better. They start playing more physical. They start friggin' just playing with their hair on fire. And that's what was missed last year. They have a dog back in Dre Greenlaw. But he's got to stay healthy. They got to – I don't know what they got to do. Give him days off like they give Trent. But if Dre Greenlaw can last all the games this year and on a playoff run, and God willing they win a Super Bowl, if he can miss maybe 1 or 2 games, this is the free agent signing of the offseason. That's how big he is. That's how big of a part that was missing from this defense last year. That's what Dre Greenlaw gives you, an emotional edge.
Yeah, I've seen some concerns about Dre and his play, and I wanted to throw this idea to you really quick. A lot of people were saying Trey fell off. He hasn't recovered from the injury and all that. But he was also signed to be the Mike, right? Which he
He
hasn't.
wasn't used properly in Denver.
Right. And so what will that do to a guy's play? And so like when I stop and think about it, with Dre in particular, he wasn't the Mike here. He wasn't asked to do that. He was the will here, right? So he was able to come and flow with a lot less responsibility. I feel like it's a little less reactive as well, right? If you're the Mike, you have to like really read and line people up and all that. Dre didn't really have that kind of assignment. And I think even if he was 100%, which he wasn't, I'm not saying that, the injury wasn't an issue. He wasn't 100%, but I also think that also takes a toll on you and how well you're going to be able to play your role. Him coming back here and that as the will Mike, the will linebacker, I think that kind of rejuvenates him. And like you said, it's going to give confidence to Fred Warner. Talk about the difference, if you have anything, to add to it, between playing the Mike and playing the will.
It's a night and day difference. He's back to the role of Robin than Batman. So, listen, everybody wants to be the lead of the defense. Everybody wants to be the guy who calls the shots, the guy who calls the play in the huddle, wears the green dot on his head, communicates with the sidelines. But with that, usually comes more money, with more responsibility. And with that, you become more disciplined and non-reactive, if that makes sense. It's more discipline, keys, assignments, react. Dre Greenlaw is the perfect will linebacker. Unfortunately, Dre Greenlaw will be nothing more than a will linebacker. Dre Greenlaw needs a monster at the mic to have a successful career, because Dre Greenlaw is a see ball, get ball, read and react linebacker. Not keys. It's see ball, get ball. Dre Greenlaw is not, he probably is keying on the guards' helmets, but he's more, there's the ball, 110 miles an hour to the ball. I'm knocking your head off. His theory, the way he plays, he wants to hit you so hard that you drop the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you play that way, you can't be hesitating then reactive. It's full reaction. And that's his best ball, and that's how he plays. And to be honest with you, I think that's the reason he transitioned from safety to linebacker at Arkansas, because I think you had to be too disciplined as a safety, where you didn't have to be as disciplined as a linebacker. So with that being said, he's back in his role where I think he's going to have the best success of his career that he had, and hopefully he will in 2026. And just a note, sometimes the grass isn't greener on the other side with big money, taking the lead as the Mike. Sometimes you got to stay where you're at, get what you can get, and the fit in your surroundings can allow you to play to your strength.
Now, his contract was clearly to be the Mike in Denver. If he had taken less to go over there and play the same role that he played for the Niners as a will, do you think there's a chance he would still be with the Broncos? Maybe they wouldn't be as disappointed. I think that his contract was just too much for them to keep him as a will.
Yes.
And that's why I think they were willing to let him go.
Well, because they banked on him adapting to the new role and paid him accordingly. Remember, when you negotiate contracts, it's not for what you did, it's what they see and want you to do.
Exactly.
So if I'm signing you as the Mike, you're going to go from $7 to $10 million upwards to $12 to $18 million to take over as the Mike and run the defense. And some people are made for it. And listen, it not only could have been the scheme, it not only could have been the role of the Mike, it could have been the scheme. Maybe the scheme didn't allow him to play free. And, it's interesting because you're talking about 5-man fronts. And if he's going to be the maniac coming off the edge,
watch out.
If he's the
I like what
man,
I like what you said about, he wants to hit you so hard that you drop the ball. At the very least, you're going to hesitate running in his direction again. 100%. And it's going to, that creates so much more opportunity. You talk about a game of inches. Imagine seeing Dre Greenlaw barreling down at you with no one in front of him, Like you're gonna hesitate, and if it's a game of inches, that's gonna pay dividends for the 49ers. So I absolutely love this signing here. I think that this is going to be a very underrated signing by the Niners here, and it's going to do something. I think we are back to having one of the deepest linebacking corps that we've had in a very, very long time. And during the exit meetings, and when you heard from Kyle and John at the podium after the season was over, they even talked about possibly bringing back Kendricks if he wanted to return. So I mean, he's not back yet, if I'm not mistaken, right? He's still a free agent, isn't he?
He's still a free, but I think they weren't banking on Dre Greenlaw being released.
Right.
And just one quick side note. I think this is huge for Martin. Because Martin is essentially Dre Greenlaw.
Okay.
He plays with that type of skill set. Mentality. They have the same skill set, but they play with that kill ball, see ball, kill ball mentality.
Yeah, I completely agree. This will be good for him, someone to learn from, and this will be the role that he was designed and brought into play. Everyone kept saying, throw him in at Mike, and the Niners said it publicly over and over. Not everybody can, all the linebacker positions aren't interchangeable on this team, so we're not just going to throw him in there. And there were Niner fans just so frustrated with the rotation of Mike's that we were like, no, let's get somebody, let's give him a shot. And the team they were stubborn and holding true to what they drafted this young man for. That's not his role. He can't do it, and we don't need him right now. So I like that a lot. All right, we got a couple more super chats. We're going to go to the trade breakdown after this. Let me read these other super chats. I think it's just one more. This is the first one from Himstopher Johnson, instead of Christopher, he's Himstopher. I think that's how you pronounce his name. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, correct me in the chat. You could type it phonetically, but thank you for the super chat. He says that injury almost takes a year to fully recover, which leads to Kittle replacement. Question for me. Bang, bang. So this is some concern about the tight end position, and the Niners did go out and who was it? What's the didn't we do something with a tight end?
Tonjes. They resigned Jake Tonjes to a 2-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
So as of right now, I think he's penciled in as a day one starter. I do not think Luke Farrell is a starting caliber tight end after what we've seen last year. I was let down. I was very let down with his performance last year. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised he's still on the roster. I know he has a bonus coming up where they could decide to move on from him and save like a couple $1 million, which it wouldn't surprise me if somehow they can get their hands on another piece. But they have to add something to the tight end room. You can't go into this season just with Tonjes, Farrell, Willis, and Rucci that they signed from Miami as an undrafted free agent out of Penn State, I believe he was. Yes. So they need to add more to it to completely move on from Farrell. But hands down, I think it's definitely Tonjes.
All right. Thank you for that super chat. We do appreciate it, and hopefully we did a good job answering that question for you. All right. The trade. All right. This is the trade that people were banging the table for, and this is Mr. Interior Pressure here. Osa Odigizua from the Dallas Cowboys. The 49ers sent a third-round pick. I was surprised that this wasn't like a trade of picks or anything like that. This was just a straight-up third-round pick for the player. The Niners don't often do trades like this this early, I should say, in free agency. So this was an interesting one to me. He's, again, known for his interior pressure. A disruptor on the inside is what they're looking for, someone to pair with Nick Bosa, who they're hoping comes back and is ready to go early in the regular season. I don't think that they're anticipating Bosa coming back in late October, early November. I think they're expecting Bosa to be there and ready pretty early on. What does this do for our defensive line, Tony?
I think it's the piece that's been missing for a very long time. I think it's a piece that's been missing since Brenston Buckner, DeForest Buckner, since he's been traded. This is a true pass rushing tackle. Theme, another one with long arms, powerful hands, 6'2", 285, maybe 290 now. I don't know what he's exactly at. But this guy, just watching some highlights on him, again, they're highlights, but you see his technique. He's elite off the snap. He's very, very quick. Oh, is that true? Can we confirm that? JJ to the Chargers? Oh. Anyway, he's got an elite first step. If you guys have time, go on YouTube, type in his name, put 49ers trade for Osi. I can't say his last name. I'm sorry.
Odigizua.
Odigizua. Put 49ers trade for defensive tackle Osa Odigizua. And you'll see all like highlights come up. And it's under White. It's Wieze, YZ. Look at that highlight. And it's strictly all 22 film. So you're seeing the front and the back angles. And you can see, like, Landon Dickerson, Pro Bowl left guard, totally took him off the snap. Totally took him off the snap. His arms are unreal. And another highlight they put up there was versus the Raiders, where he started as a 3 technique. He did a stunt to the outside, the end crashed inside. And you see his athleticism, how athletic he is. His athleticism showed that he was able to bend the edge as a defensive tackle, disengage the tackle with his arms, and still almost sack Geno Smith on a stunt. So you see the positive, right? You see why the 49ers went out and tried to go after Franklin Myers, but then missed on Franklin Myers, goes outbidded by the Titans. But watching this kid and his elite explosion off the snap, the kid is good. Like, you see why they signed him to a 4-year, $20 million, $4-year, $80 million deal, whatever they gave him in Dallas. Pros, cons, on the books for $16 million this year. After this year, they don't owe him a dime. They can move on from him. They can restructure this deal, give him some guaranteed money next year, which is a very strong possibility. Doesn't have the sack numbers that you want. People right away, not any of us here, but just looking on Twitter, oh, he's only got 3 sacks. He's only got this. Well, what you don't understand is sometimes sacks aren't as important as pressures, right? You want the quarterback to be thrown off his platform because you don't want him to be comfortable. And that's when you get in trouble. We have no pressure up front. Again, a team that had 20 sacks last year. Quarterbacks, how many times you see them step up and throw, step up and throw, step up and throw? Because there's nothing there. So with that being said, they addressed this piece, look for the pressure to develop and start coming up the middle now. And I think it's a great acquisition. And I think it's a fair price. I think it's a steal compared to giving John Franklin Myers 4 years. I don't even know what he signed for, $80-something million. And they still have 4 years of that deal that they have to cover. We control this guy's destiny. We control his finances. So with that being said, I think it's a great move. It's a financial steal. And I'm excited to see him play. And I think, right, like Mike, you said something like when Parsons left, his play dropped off. So by removing Parsons, you take him off Dallas's line, and now you insert him to a line with Bosa, Mikael Williams, Collins, West. Another edge is going to be added, whether it's Greenlaw, Greenard, or Joey Bosa, whoever it might be. If this unit could play together, I think it's going to be interesting. I think they could feed off each other, and they could have success together. Mark asked me if I would compare Osa to Ray McDonald. No, Ray McDonald was a bigger. He was like 6'3", 295, more physical. I think Osa is more athletic. Osa definitely had longer arms than Ray McDonald, and Ray McDonald was eventually a 5 technique in Vic Fangio's defense.
When Mark asked this question last night or the night, my night to running together, so I do apologize, guys. He asked me specifically, would you compare him as far as production goes? So I looked at the QB hits numbers, I looked at the sack numbers, and they are extremely similar. Now, what I don't find on Pro Football Reference are pressures, because pressures are calculated differently by almost every site. So I didn't see pressure numbers from Ray McDonald, but as far as production goes, QB hits, tackles for losses, and sacks, their production was eerily similar. So I do get where Mark got that comparison from. Tony is going to break down the physical traits like he just did, and that's why he's saying no. But as far as production, it was there. Now, again, he was brought in to pressure the quarterbacks. And that's the difference. So I think that's why Tony is saying no.
They're used different. They're used different.
Yeah. So this should definitely help improve the defensive line. He can come in here and show some of these young defensive tackles that we just drafted some of his techniques and things to look at and work on. I expect this guy to come in here and, be one of those leaders by example, right? And continue to improve what we have with West and Collins, and hell, even Mykel Williams, because they're going to bump him inside from time to time as well. So this is going to get me to a question that was not a super chat, but this has been floating around in my midnight shows for the last couple of weeks by DJ Malone. So, Tony, this question is for you. Tony, do you believe that the 49ers front office will give Raheem Morris the ability to can Kocurek if the defensive line doesn't play up to par? Morris should be able to bring in his own guys for the defensive line. We all want him fired. He's talking about Kocurek. If this defensive line, because Kocerek's not going anywhere this year, right? He's going to be here for this season. It's obvious. If this defensive line lets down again after getting what everyone is saying the missing piece is, after getting Nick Bosa back and healthy, right? If you got all these pieces that they threw into it last year, I mean, if it doesn't work now, are they going to give Morris the okay to say, all right, we got to move on from this guy?
I would say yes.
Okay.
I would say yes, and I think that's specifically due to the relationship and confidence in Kyle has in him. Especially, I mean, like, all right, it can go both ways, right? Because if you think about it, if Raheem's defense comes out and balls out and plays at a high level, but the development of the defensive tackles and the youth on this team are not there, I think that's a shot at Kocurek. So let's just say they come in and they draft Cassius Howell at 27, and they make him the edge, and he does nothing, which I don't think is going to be the case. And he does nothing, and Collins doesn't take a step, Mykel Williams doesn't take a step, West doesn't take a step. They're forced into picking up guys off the street. Then I think that's a problem for Kocurek.
All right. And that's going to lead us to our next topic here. And then I'm going to lead into the topic, and then I'm going to go right into a super chat, and then I'll toss it back to you. All right. So we've talked about the free agencies. We talked about the trades. Tony mentioned the $16 million for Osa Odigizua. Look, none of this happens without cap space. And the 49ers have been doing cap gymnastics since the start of all of this. We heard about the restructure for Nick Bosa, creating $17 million. We heard about the insurance. The Niners are so injured that they've taken out insurance policies on players, and they got $20 million in cap space, right?
A lot of teams do that, Mike. It's very common.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. But the Niners were the second or third highest with the injury cap relief from the insurance policies this year. Mm-hmm. The Nick Bosa, $17 million. They're talking about possibly restructuring Trent, which I think will happen, and that'll probably generate around $14 to $16 million. So here's the question, man. They're creating all of this cap space, and here's the super chat that I want to get to. He says, "Oh, GTA Tony, you think we're getting Crosby or Bosa or both?" I'm going to stop there really quick because you're going to need the cap space if you're thinking about bringing in Crosby for sure, right? So that's going to scream, "Hey, Trent, get this restructure done as soon as possible," right? The one piece that is missing still from this defensive line is the bona fide pass rusher opposite of Nick Bosa. That's going to be Crosby. It could be brother Bosa. It could be both of them, like he's saying here. What are your thoughts there? And how do we go about getting Crosby? Because what are we trading if we are going to do it?
That's why I think Crosby's out. They need to make picks in this draft. They need to replenish the roster. They can't keep trading picks. So they already lost their 5th, 6th, and 7th round for trades. 2 of them that aren't even re-signed back to this team. 1 of them left the team, and Robinson's still on the free agent market. So with that being said, I'm over the notion of the game plan of them continuously trading at the deadline for people that aren't a part of your future or can't agree to an extension to be a part of your future. Like, we could have really used those 5th, 6th, and 7th round picks right now. I'm not going to lie, because, we're in a transition year. We're an older team. You want to start developing the youth. So in order to trade for Crosby, 27's gone. 1 of your 4ths are gone. So now you're down to 4 picks. You have more than 4 holes on this team to fill. So, and I'm not about like the reason why the Niners got in this predicament is because I think we could both agree was 2 trades, and that's the Trey Lance trade and the Christian McCaffrey trade. And I love Christian McCaffrey. I'm not mad at that, but the Trey Lance trade killed this team. You're talking 3 first-round picks, 3 players in the first-round talent level. Granted, they could have missed on all 3 of them, or they could have hit on 1 of them and missed on 2 or whatever. But still, you had the opportunity to bring in a piece that could have contributed, even if they weren't a star. They could have contributed.
Before you move on from that part, and don't lose your train of thought, please. If we didn't make those trades, even if those players didn't work out, odds are, because they were first-round talents, there's other GMs that would have signed them if we decided to move on, and then we get comp picks in return. So It was more than just those 3 first-round picks when you think about it.
It is a coincidence that Trey Lance this year or next year would have been this year he would have been a free agent if we didn't pick up his option.
When did I say this was a failed offseason?
This would have been in 2027 would have been is a coincidence that I'm right, because 2027 we're not getting no comp picks as of now. We don't have any.
That's correct.
We don't have anybody to sign.
Right. Yeah.
Like, they don't have anybody to sign. No one wants anybody. I mean, that's why we have no first-round pick. We didn't have no first-round picks for 3 years. And then we made, 2 first-round picks since then? So 22, 23, 24, 25.
Since Trey Lance, we've drafted Aiyuk, Kinlaw, and Michael Williams. We have 3.
Were after.
Yeah, so I said since Trey Lance, yeah.
No, I think. Really?
I'm pretty sure.
No.
Hold on. Here we go.
He was drafted in the 23 draft, 22 draft. Aiyuk was 21, and Kinlaw was 20.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up now. So in the last 5 first round picks for the 4. Oh my Jesus. This thing is giving me the whole gamut. All right, here we go. Since Trey Lance, the 49ers have drafted. Here we go. Oh yeah. You were right. Kinlaw and Aiyuk were before, and then it was Trey Lance. So it was Ricky Pearsall and Michael Williams. Those are the only 2.
So that means 2 of the first round picks would have been free agents this year.
Right.
There you go.
All right. So he to finish up Sean's super chat, which by the way I forgot to.
Sorry.
He says, "Do you think we draft offensive line?" Sorry, I just punched myself for that pipe dream. We need Justin Smith tackle.
I think they're going to have to draft an offensive line. I don't know if it's going to be a tackle or guard or a tackle that can kick inside to play guard until the tackle's ready. I don't think Freeland would be the one guy I think if he was at 27 draft, but he's going to be long gone. The tight end from Oregon is going to be long gone. Cooper, more than likely, is going to be gone. So the perfect scenario would be, obviously, first choice would be I would move down a couple spots for a team that wants to grab a quarterback that's falling, or like the Jets are at 33. I saw a scenario today where the Jets traded up to 27. The Niners moved back to 33 to take a quarterback to secure him for 5 years. So that scenario I would be okay with. Or if someone at 30 or 31 or 32 wants to come up to 27 and take a player, I'm okay with that as well. But they need a couple more picks in this draft. And if there's an abundance of talent at 27, and they can move back and pick up a couple picks and move back a couple slots and pick up a couple picks, I'm for that. But if Cooper's there, I think it's going to be a very tough conversation with him. For him.
Okay. All right. So we are on, let me find my little breakdown here.
Hobbs.
We did the trades, we did the contracts and the cap gymnastics. Some other potential cap casualties, Tony. Now, we already know about what happened with Huff. And thank you, Bryce Huff, for announcing retirement. He didn't have to do that. He could have just said, they cut me, and it would have cost the Niners another $3 million versus him retiring. They saved an additional $3 million, right? Because he retired.
They probably did the right thing, though. They probably paid him.
So
if you retire before this deadline, we'll give you the money, and that's it.
Right. So let's look into our crystal ball and see the future, and they restructure Trent Williams. All right. Mm-hmm. What are the Niners doing with that extra cap space? Do you think that this is for the future? Do you think this is for maybe another wide receiver? Do you think this is to try to make a push for a Max Crosby? Now, I know that everyone is saying that the Raiders are all in on Fernando, right? They're saying that he's going to go first overall.
Yeah.
So there's no chance anymore that they would take Mac Jones and a first rounder, right? Are you completely out of it? Like, there's no chance that would work? Would it be the worst thing for them to trade for Mac Jones, extend him, because he's got another year, he's got this year on his thing. They extend him. He can step in from day one because he's the veteran, and then you train Mendoza when he's ready, you let him take the reins. Like, would that be the worst thing, or do you think that they're just all in on the quarterback and he's going to start day one?
I think it would be smart to do if I was Kubiak. I think Kubiak has mentioned it and brought it up, especially with them trading Geno Smith. I think that said something. That they have their eyes on the veteran. It could be Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know. But
wait, say that again one more time. You said what?
It could be Jimmy Garoppolo.
Excuse me, bitch.
Again, it's not my team, but it could be him. He knows that system. But it
Niner Faithful has a good suggestion. Could it be Kirk Cousins?
It could be Kirk Cousins too. And it could be Mac Jones. The question is, if they pull the trigger and they don't extend him, I think that lowers the value of the return because it's viewed as a rental. If they do extend him, I think it raises the value. But now if you're talking extension, what are you extending him? Are you extending him 2 years? And, what a player option where he could leave or you could trade him. I don't know. But I don't think a first-round pick and Mac Jones is good enough to get Crosby here, unfortunately.
Wow.
I think it's a fair deal. Hear me out. I think it's a fair deal. But I think the Raiders in their head said, honestly, I'll be 100% honest with you. It was complete shade what happened with that trade.
Oh, yeah.
100%. I think they got word behind the scenes saying,
Hendrickson wanted to go.
Would you come here, Hendrickson, if we offer you what you want? He said yes. His agent said yes. Okay, his knees flared up. How do you not expect his knee to be flared? He just had a procedure. That's like me going right now for a physical for a job, and they're saying, well, we can't hire you because your knee. Well, I told you I'm in a freaking brace.
Right.
Like,
it's worse than that. It's getting hired after you disclose your injury, and then they say, oh, no, we can't hire you because of your injury. It's like you had my file before you hired me. Like they sent the trade offer.
And then they tried to play it off. Oh, we were trying to get both of them. Yeah, okay. Like, come on, buddy.
Right.
I was born on a day. Unfortunately, it wasn't yesterday.
Yeah. So that's a little bit wild there.
Like, so in that whole situation, I think they know that there was some fugazi shit that went on with that deal, why they backed out. And I think they know that there's nothing wrong with it. And they're still holding out for 2 picks. Because if they truly weren't and their money was tight, they'd be scrambling right now to get rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
And he would have been probably dealt already. But they do have enough allocated in the cap for him. And they're sitting pretty right now. So, it is what it is. I'm sure the Niners made a phone call and do their due diligence. And it's that. I think their goal right now is to try to get something worked out with Trent. There's no big free agents out there that are going to require a massive amount of money like what they're eventually going to have. I think their goal is to roll over as much as they could, especially with Nick Bosa as of right now holding a $55 million cap hit next year. And they're just going to sit. And if something comes up in trade that they feel that they could do and it's going to help this team, they have the ammunition to do it as far as the finances. But they might have to forfeit some picks next year.
Right.
Or
all right,
something this year.
Go ahead.
Next year.
So, Tony, I tried to see if I could find anyone valid saying this, and I don't see anyone valid.
What, Jennings?
Yeah, the Jennings thing. It's all the people that do the rumors and sit back and say, watch, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I don't see it. What's interesting about the Juwan Jennings signing is that he is the type of wide receiver that Harbaugh loved when he was here. He is that he's not quite as fast as Crabtree, but he's the possession guy. And I don't know if you remember when we had the Stevie Johnson and Michael Crabtree and Mario Manningham, all these guys were the same. They were cut from the same type of receiving cloth. And I think that's exactly who Juwan Jennings is. But I don't know if that means that he's going to go to the Chargers. I don't see it confirmed anywhere, guys. I'm looking all over the place for it. And I don't see anyone like with I feel like Palacero would have tweeted it out by now, or Schefter would have tweeted it out by now. I'm not seeing it anywhere.
Yeah, so I guess it was bull. So I just saw
I'm not saying it's bull. I see the what's that? Remember that dog that everybody kept posting for the Niners? It was a dude with the dog face, like his Avi was a dog.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That person posted it. And then NFL Rumors posted it, and it was like, I just don't see it anywhere, like from a certified account. So, but we'll see. And depending on how much money he gets, that could possibly maybe get us a comp pick, but we're far away from that right now. We are far away from that right now. Tony, was there anything else you wanted to touch on before I wrap this thing up here?
The Hobbs signing.
Oh, how did I forget that?
We didn't talk about the Hobbs signing, and I think it's an interesting one. A lot of people were like, he's a slot guy. He's this, like on Twitter and stuff and social media I've been watching. And just one thing I think is very crucial, and I think it pertains to Raheem Morris and the changes he's looking to do with this scheme. I think he's going to look to do – well, first of all, we know who our slot corner is. This team's very high on Upton Stout. He played well last year. At the beginning of the year, he had ups and downs, grabbing, a couple penalties, getting beat. But as the year went on, you saw his improvements. He's very good at stopping the run, right? So the slot is not a problem for him. He can play that two-way route, inside, outside. He does it pretty good for someone coming up from Western Kentucky into the NFL. But the Niners lost Chase Lucas this year. And Chase Lucas was the other guy who could only play the slot. That backed up Upton Stout. And as you know, we have Luter behind our top 2 starters. I think an upgrade was needed there. So Hobbs comes in. Hobbs was playing at a pretty damn good level to get a 4-year, $88 million contract from Green Bay when he was with the Raiders. Improved versus the run. His coverage was pretty good. Didn't have a ton of interceptions. Had a couple pass defending. But obviously something was sawn by Green Bay to say, okay, let's invest in this, right? Since you pay on what you think they can do. goes to Green Bay, got hurt, struggled with the scheme. They lined them up mainly outside. So what I see Hobbs as a guy that can play outside, inside, and even safety, right? And we talked about the changes that are going to be made to this defense by Raheem Morris. And I think this guy could be this signing could be the signing behind one of the changes, right? You talked about the 5-man fronts, right? But what did Raheem Morris have on that number one unit with the Los Angeles Rams? He had Jalen Ramsey, who was a corner that could play inside, outside, and safety. So do they view Hobbs as a Jalen Ramsey type player at the star position under his defense while he was with the Rams? I think it could be a strong possibility where if they want to go a big nickel, he would come on the field instead of Stout. So it's all about matching and pairing his strengths to what Raheem Morris wants to do to his scheme. Listen, there's only one Jalen Ramsey, right? I think we could all agree on it. But if you're taking a shot on $4.5 million on a guy that shows you he has the athletic ability, the tackling ability, the coverage ability to play that role, played inside, outside, and safety, you take a shot and see what you could do with him. It's only a 1-year deal. It's not a long-term investment. And listen, it could work out in their favor. It could blow up. But still, they needed to replace Lucas, and signing Hobbs is an upgrade over Lucas. That's the way I see it.
Okay. I'm not mad at that. And then there is one other signing that we did, and that was the running back, Patrick Taylor. We didn't really mention it. I don't want him to feel like we're ignoring him or his contributions to the team. And so, this is some running back depth. What were your thoughts on that there, Tony? We got Patrick Taylor back in here on a 1-year deal. He did contribute for the Niners. He had his career high in yards per attempt, if that makes you feel any better. But I mean, we're talking about less than 2 dozen carries, definitely less than 3 dozen. It might be just at 2 dozen, something like that.
Listen, he's going to be in the compete for the third running back spot. I do think they're definitely going to sign at least one undrafted free agent. They do every year. They always bring in a running back with Bobby Turner, who wears the number 49. There's still going to be a possibility they bring back Robinson. It's interesting, though, because I think for the money that they signed them, it was probably just over $1 million. Isaiah Pacheco was a free agent who signed with Detroit for just over $1 million. I think it was like $1.35 million. Damn, man. I would have loved to see Pacheco in his offense. I think he would have been the perfect ground and pound inside the tackles to complement Christian because of his size and his speed. He was coming off an injury, though, so maybe, they weren't too confident in it. But, hey, listen, he's back. He showed some things in preseason. He had a couple carries in the start due to injuries. We'll see. You're muted.
My last question for you, Tony, and I'm going to present a separate question to the chat as well. All right, but this is how we started the show, and this is what we're trying to figure out. Are the 49ers loading up for a Super Bowl push, or are they just keeping their playoff hopes alive? That's what we're going to wrap up on. My question to the chat, though, is do you guys think the 49ers are done making moves, or is John Lynch just getting started? So, chat, let us know if you think that we're going to be signing a few more free agents. I know that there's people out there saying that we should try to target Njoku. I don't know. For some reason, I feel like Kyle Shanahan just doesn't like superstar tight ends. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know. Here, let me read this super chat here also before we wrap up. This one is from Delvin Thomas. Thank you very much. This is Mike. You said because the Seahawks won the Super Bowl in our house and embarrassed our team heads were going to roll from actions so far. You're right, bruh. I haven't seen the heads rolling. I have seen some changes to the front office. We saw Kwesi come in here. We saw the Raheem Morris come in. We saw him bring in one of his assistants, and that's a good sign. Not a lot of defensive coordinators get to bring in assistants with them, so that was definitely a good sign. And I think we're just getting started here. People keep asking the question of whether or not Kilserick could be on the hot seat. I think so. Could John Lynch be on the hot seat? I think so. I wouldn't rule any of these things out. This is quite literally a put up or shut up type of season for the 49ers. So thank you for that super chat, Delvin. I really do appreciate it. So chat, you guys let us know if you think that they're going to make some more moves. And Tony, what do you think, man? Is this a Super Bowl push, or is this just let's try to make it to the dance and see what happens when we get there?
I think, obviously, it's a Super Bowl. I think everyone should. I think they believe this is a Super Bowl push, but I think their mentality is this is a playoff push. Let's get to the promised land. Let's get to the second season and let's just do what we can do. Like, it's a Super Bowl push, but their objective is to get in the playoffs, and once they're in, anybody can win at any time. It depends on if you're hot. It depends. Like, that's what I understand, right? People say, the Super Bowl window is closing. How do you know the Super Bowl window is closing in the offseason? Like, I just want to know that, because you don't know what free agency is going to do, what the draft could do, what any trades could do up to the deadline, what injuries could happen during the season. So you technically don't know to say the window isn't closing. This team that's currently the 63 people that are on this roster out of the 90 is the same team, if not better than what it was that made the divisional round. So how is the Super Bowl window closed? In order to go to the Super Bowl, you got to make the playoffs, right? So obviously, and I kind of don't understand why people say, I mean, Jed talks out of his ass sometimes, but Jed's kind of right in a way, because he says every year our goal is to make the playoffs. You can't go to the Super Bowl if you're not in the playoffs. So he's right. You got to get in the playoffs. But once you're in the playoffs, it becomes Super Bowl. So with that being said, I honestly feel that how do I say this? That it's impossible to project now at this point in time, because by week 4, this team could be decimated with injuries and it's over. I hope not, but it's something that could happen. It could happen to any team, right? Look at the Rams. They just loaded up on 2 brand new corners and talking about trying to trade for A.J. Brown. Well, guess what? Trent McDuffie on week 1 could blow his Achilles out. He's done. So that's why they play the game. It's hard to project. It's hard to tell. You can just say what you hope and what you see and what you're praying for. It is an upgrade, Callie. And you just go from there. Like, that's what you do. You just go from there.
I think the difference to me is this, right? I would say it's a Super Bowl push if I thought the Niners were trying to position themselves to win the division, right? So right now, I still got the Seahawks as the number 1 team in the NFC. In the NFC West, let me be clear, all right? In the NFC West, I think the Niners are hoping to get a wild card based off of what I'm seeing right now. Now, we were only, 2 games behind Seattle at the end of the season?
Yes.
Right? After they won that last game, that put them 2 games ahead of us. So the moves they've made are worthy of 2 additional wins. However, it's a different group of people that we got to play against, right? That was last year without a Kansas City Chiefs in the regular season. That was last year without a Chargers and a motivated Jim Harbaugh in the regular season, right? So while I would love to sit here and say, if this team is better than what it was last year, we can easily get 2 more wins, we got different opponents lined up. We're not playing that NFC East this year. You know what I'm saying? That was something that benefited the Niners a lot. We're not playing the NFC South this year. That was something that benefited the Niners, you know?
Let me ask you this. Are Seattle still 2 games better than us right now, what they lost? because they really didn't bring anybody in yet.
Right.
They lost their starting running back, their Super Bowl MVP. They lost several players on that defense, 2 in the secondary. So are the Seattle Seahawks 2 games better? Again, I'm not trying. If there's Seattle fans in here, I'm not talking shit. I'm just asking.
Well, no, it's a good question. But they did lose guys in the secondary, but they got both of the Chiefs guys, didn't they? Or was that the Rams that did that? Who did that? Was that the Rams or Seahawks? The Rams did that. That's right. That was the Rams. That's a good point, Tony. That's a good point. And they also are now going to be having a first place schedule, right?
Yeah.
Instead of the Rams had the first place schedule last year, and Seattle had the second place schedule, right? Yep. The Niners had the last place schedule. Now it's all topsy-turvy with the Cardinals last place instead of third place. Rams are third place. No. Yeah, the Rams are third place instead of first place, and the Seahawks are first place instead of second place. So it maybe it neutralizes everything. Maybe it neutralizes everything, you know, and their schedule is a little bit harder than ours based off of how it was last year. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. But that's how I'm judging a playoff hopes versus a Super Bowl push. If you guys think that the Niners have done enough so far this offseason or will do enough this offseason to take over the NFC West, then I would say that this is a Super Bowl push. If they are doing enough just to stay relevant and get one of those wild cards, then I would say it's a playoff hopes alive type of scenario.
Yeah.
There is one question that I keep seeing popped up in here. People are saying, why are we even considering Joey Bosa when Cameron Jordan is out there? I have not seen Cameron Jordan play for another team other than the Saints.
Never.
And he's also 36 and a half, something like that right now.
He's up, but he got 12 sacks last year.
He did. He absolutely did. Cameron Jordan is 36. Wow, he's about to be 37. He'll be 37 by the time the season starts. His birthday is in a couple of months. So he'll be 37 by the time the season starts. But like you guys said, he did finish the season with 10 and a half sacks. It depends on, some sites don't count half sacks, and that's why you'll see up to 12 depending on, what you're looking at. Let me ask you, Tony. If by chance he plays for a team that's not the New Orleans Saints, and that's where he started his entire career back in 2011, would you take him? If he was willing to sign somewhere, would you take him over Bosa? Not Nick Bosa. Don't do that, guys. Would you take him over Joey Bosa?
I mean, at this point, I think it comes down to who agrees to what the 49ers are looking to allocate towards the position. Right? Like if they have a contract on the table for 1 year, $8 million, let's just say hypothetically, I'm not saying that's what they are, but I'm just saying on a hypothetical basis. But I think maybe Cam Jordan might take it, but I think also maybe Joey Bosa might say, I want 12 and go try to find himself 12. So it all depends on what deal they take. And with that being said, maybe they go that route with the veteran, with Cam Jordan, and they bring in a young guy. Or another scenario is the guy from the Minnesota Vikings, Grenard or Greenwood or Green. I forgot his name, but the pass rusher from Kwesi traded from the Houston Texans. That's available. So, it's I don't know. But as of right now, where they currently stand, I don't see them going big for any big-time free agents. I think they're going to stay status quo unless something comes across the table that they feel could make this team better and they feel it's the right way to go. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there might be a free agent or two signing, like Morstead will probably sign. They might add another running back or they might add another piece. But I think all is going to be quiet right now until the draft when the second wave really kicks up.
Right. Did you happen to see what Gold-Blooded 4949's avatar is?
No.
Tony. Is that Chris Collinsworth with a nutsack under his chin? Who is it?
I can't see.
I can't tell either. That's definitely a nutsack under somebody's chin.
Is that Gavin Newsom? Please answer. Gold Blood, is that Gavin Newsom or Chris? Is that what's his name? Where Gavin?
He says it's Gavin.
Newscom.
Oh my God! Oh, that is awesome. Oh, you guys are
Got a
great.
new
All
name
right,
for Gavin Newscrotum.
all right, we are going home. All right, that is enough. This is good, man. This was a fun show, Tony. Thanks for making some time to jump on, man. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed this show. Guys, hit the like button on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not. I saw a couple of new names in the chat earlier, so please, I hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications so you know exactly when we're going live. Guys, I will be back at midnight. It will be a cigar night, so you guys will hear some background noise, some boxing on. We'll be having a lot of fun, some drinks going. So this is the best time for you guys to come on a cigar night. I'm having a couple of drinks. You guys are going to get some honest answers. Don't ask me anything about my wife because apparently she goes back and watches these 15-minute shows afterwards. So you guys are trying to get me in trouble. And we have a nice little vacation coming up in a few weeks when we travel to California for Zach's wedding. Oh, I do want to ask you guys this question. Maybe I'll ask it to the Midnight Crew. Tony, what would you do, man? I do the shows at midnight because we're Eastern time. However, I'm going to be in California for an entire week. Would you do the March Madness at midnight shows, midnight East Coast time, or would you do or midnight West Coast time if you were me? How would you do it? Keep it to East Coast time?
Mm-hmm.
So the issue with that is the night of the reception, 9 p.m., I'm going to be at his reception. So that's going to be a little tough. That's going to be kind of disrespectful. But it's also only 15 minutes. I can go sit out in my car for 15 minutes. What happened? What do we got?
Jump up on the phone, go live, and throw Zach in with you.
Yeah. Well, no, I can't take him away from his wedding. Are you kidding me? They kill me for
get them both in.
Oh my God! But we'll see, though. We'll see. I'm definitely going to do some shows. I did talk to him about it already. I got approval to do it, but it's just going to be weird. We'll see. I'm not taking the day off, man. And when I do take the day off, I do come back in the afternoon. So we'll see how it goes, man. It's going to be a lot of fun either way. Niner Faithful does have a question for you. Tony going to join you for March Madness before the month is over? You guys got to ask Tony. Uh-oh. Pressure. Pressure.
That's tough. That's when I usually go. I close my eyes.
I tell you what, though, Tony has been in some of the chats for a couple of the shows, but he's laying in bed, so it's tough. I don't want to get him in trouble, and I don't want Kim starting beef with me because I love Kim, so I don't want any problems. All right. But listen, we're gonna wrap this thing up, guys. If he makes it, cool. I had Eric Crocker say he was gonna join for one of them, and I don't remind people. Once they say they're gonna do it, and I open the invitation, I tell them to let me know when they're ready. So. We'll see. But, guys, that's going to do it for us, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Tony, let's go home, man. Prepare for glory.
Anticipate pain.
But always.
Remain faithful.
We'll see you guys soon. Peace.
We all gas, no brakes, pumped up, no fakes. We spinning, we winning, we high stakes. We never miss, we all makes. Look at us dudes trying to prove, bringing you news with nothing to lose. Mike, Nick, Tony, Wayne, Method Man, we bring the pain. Hey. See, I'ma confess it. We under the pressure. If you looking to find us,